Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So, what should we talk about today? So I've got this idea I've been thinking about. I don't have it completely worked out yet, but I thought I'd do a video on it since I've been thinking about this. I actually started thinking about this a while ago when I did a video on what was it about? Not being afraid of offending people. I talked about, I can't remember the name of the video, but it was about going over to my neighbor's house and telling them to turn the music down, and people got all, not avoiding conflict or something like that. And they got all bent out of shape, like, oh, you could have gotten killed or stabbed or shot. And really, come on. So anyway, it got me thinking about how most likely what would happen, if there's going to be a negative repercussion, which there's not, because most of the time people are going to be chicken, to be honest with you. That's the default behavior. You can expect that 90% of people that you encounter will back down to you if you show aggression and confidence. That's just default. So most likely the worst that would happen would be getting punched in the face. And if you've never been punched in the face, it's really not that bad. I know that sounds funny, but honestly, so many people fear that thing, which is, I think I talked about this a little bit, but what is the big deal, right? There's a lot worse things in life. And so a lot of, I think, the things that maybe you'll avoid doing or that you'll sort of be afraid of will be sort of based on this avoidance of this kind of stupid fear, because what is really the big deal? So anyway, so basically the idea behind this is maybe you should practice going about your day pretending no matter what you do, you're going to get punched in the face today. So, and you get one freebie. You can do something that's deserving of it because it's going to happen to you anyway. Imagine if you lived your life thinking that way. What would happen? How would things sort of change? How you operate and sort of the things that you do change? Probably be a little bit braver, probably a little bit more confident, probably do a few more things that you wouldn't have done normally, and probably stand up for yourself a little bit more, maybe look people in the eyes more, that kind of thing. Again, I'm just starting to think about this. There's some implications to this, but what if you started with that mentality? If you had that idea, it's if you didn't care, you just figured out it's going to happen anyway, so might as well just accept that reality. It's not a bad idea for some of you that are really afraid of things you shouldn't be. A lot of situations in life are what I'd call arbitrage situations, which means that basically there's an arbitrage in your favor where the worst that could happen to you is not that bad, but the best that could happen to you is really good. See, when you realize that, it sort of opens up a lot of opportunity, and you can take a little bit more risks. A lot of times we're afraid of doing things that have very low risk. There's very little bad that could happen to us. Being embarrassed is a very low risk consequence. But there's a lot of high reward consequences. Yeah, I guess they're consequences that can result from taking those low risk things, right? A lot of opportunities like that, because most people won't subject themselves to those low risk activities because they perceive the consequences as high, even though those consequences are really relatively small. So, just take, for instance, just walking on the street, shooting a video. I am a little bit intimidated to do this, I'll admit, but forcing myself to do it because it's very low risk. There's not much bad that's going to happen to me from doing this. Maybe someone will steal my phone, someone will make a face on the video and laugh and think it's pretty funny that I'm shooting a video and talking to myself. Not a big deal. But anyway, just something to think about. I still have to work this idea out a little bit more, but a lot of the ideas that I do videos on and talk to you guys about are a little bit more worked out, but they kind of start here, and then I'll think about the idea more. But this is one I've been thinking about. It'll eventually develop into some blog post or more in-depth video or philosophy, but just think about the implications. What if you start your day just imagining that essentially maybe it's not even just getting punched in the face, maybe it's something bad is going to happen. Not you should be pessimistic, but that you're going to pay the consequences for some action already. If you're kind of licensed to do some things that you wouldn't do, to take some risks you wouldn't take, because you're going to be paying for it anyway. It's like if you bought a plane ticket to somewhere and you decide you didn't want to go, but you're just going to go anyway because hell, you paid for it, right? Or you paid for dessert, so you might as well eat it. That's probably a bad example because you shouldn't have that mentality. But essentially, what if you had that viewpoint, and then how would that change your life? How would that affect the way that you do things, the way you interact with people, the kind of risks that you would take? I think it would benefit you in life. And I think if you started living that way day in and day out, you'd get a little bit more braver. You'd realize that the down effect, the bad things that can happen to you are much less and less severe than you think. So you take more risk, which would build more confidence, which would make the sort of rejection of bad things less and less likely. So, it's all part of getting out of your comfort zone. But just an exercise. Again, I haven't fully thought this one out, but I think there's something here. All right, that's all I got for today. My arm is getting tired. Just finished a run. I will talk to you next time. If you like this video, subscribe. Take care.